a happy new year to one and all. Hope you had a lovely evening. I say evening, it's probably going until the small hours of the morning for a lot of you. So if you've got a hangover, sorry I'm shouting. Oh, just indulge me before we talk about Graham Potter. Indulge me in a little bit of sentimentality, if you wouldn't mind. I just want to thank everybody for watching the channel. And for those of you that engage all the time, they've got this new feature on. So when we log on to, if you do a YouTube channel, you get this different dashboard basically to what you'd normally see if you're going to just watch YouTube, and they've got this new feature on it. It lets you know who's interacting most. You know, basically lots of stuff about people that comment and stuff like that. So I'm going to start using that more. I found that really interesting. So I'm going to start using that more. So I just wanted to, it just made me very aware that, you know, how interactive some people are, that some people don't miss a video and some people comment so much. And I just want to say thank you for that. I'm going to be using that particular tool a lot more. Mikel Antonio gave a this is the sentimental bit. Mikel Antonio did a post yesterday. I'm not gonna read it out. You can go and search it out yourself. It was lovely. It was bloody lovely, no doubt about it at all. And the sentiment of it, I'll just paraphrase it, was that because of everything that's happened to him. Well, he mentioned that he'd lost a lot of people during the year, and then I think because of what's happened to him, it's given him a reality check and how life is short and how you've got to be grateful for anything and everything, you know, for all those small things. And I thought, you know what, it was, I totally understand why he wrote it, and I thought it was a really good message. But I thought it was particularly poignant for me last night, certainly, because I was just sat there. I didn't do anything, nothing major happened last night. It was me and my daughter. We were sat in here, and my son had gone off to spend the evening with his girlfriend. Me and my daughter were sat here with the pup. Obviously, we've got the puppy getting big now. I would show him off today, but it's absolutely hammering it down with rain, and he'd be like a drowned rat. And we were sat in, and we just watched some films, and we ate some junk food, and I read this thing from Antonio, and I sort of looked at my daughter. I think, you know what? I'm just pleased to be sat here and pleased to have this evening with her and to be able to enjoy a film. We watched Cowboys and Aliens. Don't know if you've seen it. Her choice, but that's what we watched anyway, amongst other things. Yeah, I just thought, you know what? I thought it was a really good sentiment, and certainly, you know, like Antonio, I've lost a lot of people this year, and you know, more besides. Not been the best year in a lot of people's lives. And I just thought it was a really nice sentiment to sort of enjoy what you got. There you go. That's my sentimentality. But thank you very much indeed for for tuning in and for everything that you do. It was COVID, during COVID, was sort of forced to turn this into a job, this whole West Ham malarkey. And I mean, it's amazing. It's still amazing now. It's like 2019. It's amazing now that, sort of still going. I was going to say going strong, maybe not going strong, but still going. And, I've got all you lot to thank for that. Anyone that's just watched a video, it means you've watched an advert, commented, you maybe have signed up with Patreon, or you've clicked on one of the sponsors links and got yourself a pube shaver or something, or whatever the case may be. Really do appreciate it, so thank you very much. Right, let's talk about Graham Potter, shall we? I don't know how much of this is true. I will tell you guys. If I get some information, I think it's good, I'll tell you. If I don't know, again, I will tell you. I don't know if this is true or not. So, like everybody else's WhatsApp would have been going mad yesterday with Happy New Year stuff, of course, but it's time, a few rumours going round on WhatsApp groups. Graham Potter has walked away, doesn't want the West Ham job anymore. Now, I don't know how much that is true. I don't know how well I remember it. I sort of want to attribute the news to ex-West Ham United employee, but I also, if it's not, I don't want to credit him with bad news sort of thing if it didn't come from him. So I don't know. But I was very aware that this chat was going on WhatsApp. All I can say is, when I heard it, I wasn't surprised. And in many respects, I was a bit annoyed because I wanted to do a video about it a couple of days ago, basically saying, I can't understand why Graham Potter would be hanging on for the West Ham job. Why would he not have got completely sick and tired of waiting around for West Ham, who were basically different and delaying? Basically, West Ham are riddled with uncertainty in terms of what to do as far as the manager's concerned. So, so when I saw the rumours yesterday, I thought, I'm not surprised, and damn, I wish I'd done that video a couple of days ago. Let's just assume that it's true for the moment. Let's assume that Graham Potter was approached before the El Sacco game, whatever you want to call it. Against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Wolves lose, Gary O'Neill gets sacked, West Ham lose, Lopetegui gets sacked. Obviously, West Ham won. But before that, let's assume that it's true that Graham Potter was sat down, was offered the job of West Ham head coach from now until the end of the season. And he said, yes, I will do that. And he was there in the eventuality that West Ham sacked Lopetegui. I understand why he would say yes to that then. I think it was a good chance for him to repair his reputation, which was damaged somewhat at Chelsea. I even argued at the time, because we heard that he didn't want a 6-month deal. I thought this is good for all concerned. It was good. It worked really well for David Moyes during his first stint at West Ham. It worked. If you can do it. In fact, he had an easier job than David Moyes because we had nowhere near as many good players. The first time Moyes, remember he brought in João Mario and he put Arnautovic up front and blah, blah, blah. Moyes in a far worse position. We were down sort of near the relegation zone as well, weren't we? We're not at the moment. So I thought, you know what? Potter come in, do it for 6 months. West Ham got such good players. If you're anywhere near as good as you think you are, Mr. Potter, you're going to be able to take us up the league. And do you know what? I know what the board are like. They'd probably turn around. If he did a half-decent job, even if he'd have taken us, let's say we were in 14th, I think we were in 14th at the time, which is always in and around 14th. Even if it had taken us to 14th to 9th, which is not a big stretch, right? He would have got the job. I'm quite certain of that. Can't know for sure, but I'm quite certain that that's what would have happened. So I thought it was good. So I would understand him taking that. What I didn't understand is, after West Ham carried on kicking the can down the road, why Potter would hang around. Because it's so easy just to look at things through a football prism, isn't it? But actually, what about your job? I know somebody very recently who applied for it. Say very recent, it wasn't very recent at all. They applied for a job and they had to do this check. It wasn't, I don't know what it, I can't remember what it was, but they had to do a background check. It was to check they weren't a weirdo or whatever, which no, they're not, by the way. DOB, I don't know what it was. You'll know this when I'm saying it. I'm not really aware of it. I've not worked in any of that sort of sector before. But, you know what it's like. If you're going to work with children, you're going to work with, with people, then you sometimes need to do a background check. Anyway, this background check, they got the job. They were accepted for the job. Went to the interview, and the background check took, like, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. Came back fine. But that was too long. How are you going to wait for a job for that long? In the end, they said, you know what, I just can't do this anymore and I can't wait. And they went and got a job elsewhere. So I was always wondering with Potter whether or not he was going to just give it up and jack it in, thinking I can't be asked with all this. And it appears that's what's happened, and I don't blame him. Let me get one thing straight here with him. He is far from my first choice. Far from it. Whilst I thought there was a time, remember when people used to say, or anyone but Moyes? I was never part of that. I think, well, no, you can get worse managers than Moyes, don't worry about that. But I am sort of anyone but Lopetegui at the moment. I think even, take any manager, even a manager that might have been sacked, Cooper at Leicester, Russell Martin at Southampton, any of those managers would have had this current West Ham squad sort of where we are now, even if you think about the worst managers. So I don't think that getting rid of Lopetegui, all we can do is do worse. I think in many respects do better. I know he hasn't got his coaching badges, but I think if you put Mark Noble in there now, Mark Noble would make West Ham play significantly better and more organised than we are currently. And because of that, even though Potter was not anywhere near, it's not even on the top 10, right, of people I would want to take over West Ham. Well, okay, 6 months for the rest of the season, I think he could do an okay job. The reason I wouldn't want him to do any longer than that is I think it takes a big character to manage West Ham. And I mean personality, a big personality. Do I think you've got to be an amazing personality to do all managerial jobs? Possibly not. There probably are some quiet, cerebral managers. But if I was to compare Potter to anyone in terms of personality, it would probably be Gareth Southgate. Softly spoken, very measured in what he says. I don't think you need that at West Ham. Now, don't get me wrong. I think you go too far and be too attritional. I think Jose Mourinho would be too much the other way, maybe. But I think you're going to need some backbone. I think you're going to need some confidence, because I do think West Ham are a hard club to manage. Not team. Although the fact that Lopetegui has struggled with a team and fallen out with so many would indicate that maybe we've got a few players who are a little bit feisty. But I just think behind the scenes, the composition of the ownership model is so confused. And there are so many people there. It's designed by committee in many respects now, isn't it? In many respects, it was probably easier before, when it was Gold and Sullivan, because they probably didn't disagree with each other. They were probably quite aligned, and you probably just did get a decision. Might not have been the right decision, but you would have got a decision. I think now there are so many cooks involved there, and everything has to go to committee and stuff like that. I think there's infighting. I think there's disconnect. I think there's some agitation at boardroom level, certainly. So I think that makes the manager's job hard. Head coach, manager, whatever you want to call it. Then you factor in Tim Steidten. There's a power battle going on there. In fact, I'd suggest two. I think you've got a power battle going on between David Sullivan and Tim Steidten. And I think you've got a power battle going on between, well, as it is now, Lopetegui and Tim Steidten. Last season it was David Moyes and Tim Steidten. So I think anyone coming in, Moyes probably did the right thing last season. He probably did. Which is, right, get that guy, talking about Steidten here, get him out of the training ground, and you're not allowed in the dressing room. Moyes didn't have the power to ban him from the London Stadium. So he did the one thing that was in his control in the stadium, which was the dressing room. Don't come anywhere near the dressing room. And you probably need a little bit of that. I'm not saying that Steidten is the only... I just mean there are a number of things which somebody who's a little bit softly spoken, somebody who hasn't got real determination and strength of character, is probably... It's going to be a hard job for West Ham. So I really do. I think we're a hard club to manage. And I think you're probably going to have to be quite bold, quite brash. And I just don't see Potter as that. So, as good or bad as he might be at coaching, I just don't know. But I do understand, all that being said, I do understand his frustration. And I look at it from his point of view. If this is true, the story might not be true. But if it's not true, I would still expect what I'm about to say now to have happened. He goes to West Ham, he has a meeting with whoever. Steidten, David Sullivan, probably wasn't Kretinsky, but, one of those, maybe both of those. He says, OK, I understand you're in trouble with your manager. I'll take the job on a 6-month basis once Lopetegui is sacked. I'm really interested with this dynamic here. At what point, what then happens afterwards? So Lopetegui wins against Wolves, keeps his job. What did it go? Went Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton. That was it, wasn't it? So then it's a case of, right, OK, so one against Wolves. But as Potter, you're probably thinking, Lopetegui's position is still quite precarious. It still probably hangs in the balance a little bit. So I might wait it out a little bit. Anyone can see. Most people can see that Lopetegui is not very good. Most people can see that even in the games that we're winning or drawing, we're not the better team. So Potter's probably looking at it, and if he's got, and I do think he's got a coaching brain. So, and I think he is analytical. And I think if he's watching that, thinking, hold on, West Ham are probably going to get turned over, and we nearly did. In all the games, how many chances did Southampton have? So he's probably waiting. He probably sees not good, so he's hanging on. I would imagine there still remains dialogue between the two. Because what do you do? It's hard to imagine, right? Imagine you're the club. And I'm switching between the two. Imagine you're the club. And you've got this guy, he's on ice. In emergency, break glass. There's Graham Potter in there. So you probably then say after the Wolves game, look, he's still under pressure. He's won that. You're probably not saying to Potter, we're keeping him for the rest of the season. You're probably still saying to Potter, he's under pressure. So you're keeping that dialogue going. The lines of communication are open between the two parties. At what point then, and I guess you get to Southampton, was probably the last chance saloon. So I think probably, if all this is true, Potter was waiting around until the Liverpool game. And just before the Liverpool game, it wasn't just ex-West Ham United employee that was saying it. A lot of people were saying it. But it was, if Liverpool lose heavily if West Ham lose heavily against Liverpool, Potter is waiting in the wings to take over. Well, the first bit happened. West Ham, if West Ham get humiliated, can we all agree that we were? So if that's true, and I have no reason to disbelieve what ex-West Ham United employee said, because he's got good sources. If that's true, that the first bit happened. So yes, West Ham get humiliated, then Potter, activate Agent Potter, basically. Now we've got an emergency, break the glass, that's it. Lopetegui gets sacked, Potter gets instated. Imagine this from Potter's point of view, because that didn't happen. Sorry, it's hammering it down at the moment, so if you had background noise of the rain, apologies about that. Potter then thinks, OK, West Ham get humiliated, 5-0, that'll do it, I'm about to start my new job. Then West Ham say, oh, hold on. We're not sacking him just yet. It came in 2 waves of news. He's under huge pressure, but we're not sacking him yet. And I think the next day was Jacob Steinberg's article. Now, I apologise if I got the order of this or the names were wrong. I don't, I can get a lot wrong, don't get me wrong. But in the interim between what ex-West Ham United employee said, which is if West Ham get humiliated, Lopetegui could be sacked and Potter will be instated. From that point, which was before the game, to the next morning after the game, Steinberg saying, actually, he's got the Man City game and the Aston Villa game. You can understand why Potter would have looked at that. And if he's then got that information, I have every reason to believe that everybody had the correct information. Ex-West Ham United employee had the correct information and Jacob Steinberg then had the correct information. They were all given that information. I have no doubt about that at all. Which leads me to believe that Potter would have been in receipt of exactly the same. So imagine this: the night before the game, if we lose heavily tomorrow, we're probably going to reinstate. You probably get the job if we get humiliated. Tomorrow comes, we get humiliated, 5-0, absolute thrashing. Then we're going to give. Do you know what? We're going to give Lopetegui 2 more games. Now I'd imagine they probably said. I don't know this. I'm making all this shit up. All right. By the way, I'm just trying to read the situation here. They possibly said, look, he's under huge pressure. He's unlikely to beat Man City and Aston Villa. But at that point, I just think Potter would have said, I'm done. Like my mate who was waiting on that job. So I can't wait any more for... I've got to go and... Now, it's slightly different because Potter's probably got such a big payoff from Chelsea that he's not in need of a monthly paycheck like my mate is. But I think just on principle alone, you'd turn around and say, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. I'm not waiting around any longer. So I don't know if it happened, but I can imagine it did. And if those were the news and those were the rumours yesterday, as soon as I heard those rumours, Potter's got fed up. He don't want to take the West Ham job. He's out. Potter's withdrawn. Am I surprised? No. That was the first time, in many respects, that the whole situation made sense in my brain. So why would you? Why would you? Because you'd have watched this from the sidelines. Am I ready to go? Am I starting tomorrow? When am I starting? When I start work? Ready to start work. You've got your tactics board, you've got your stuff, you've got the cones, you've got the bibs, you're ready to go. Starting tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. Oh, next week? No, let's just see. Oh, do I start next week? Well, he's just drawn a game, so let's just wait. And I think after a while, you just think, you guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you want. And I think after a while, he's probably looked at it. I thought, this club can't make a decision. And I think it probably went from a situation with him. I might be wrong on this. He might get given the job tomorrow. Anyway, the start of the video is still true. That it's Happy New Year. But I would imagine if that's happened, it's gone from him thinking I have a good opportunity to get a job here, and thinking West Ham is good for him, to now thinking, hold on a second, I might have dodged a bullet here, because now, whilst I've been waiting, I've had a little sneaky peek behind the curtain and seen how this club operates. And do I really want to be working for a club, even if I got the job, even if Lopetegui gets sacked, do I really want to be working for a club that are as indecisive as this? I think he's come to the conclusion it's a no. As I say on Dragons Den, I'm out.